Assalamu alaikum girls. Welcome to the third week of term 2. This week we are starting a new chapter, chapter 10, which is on communication. Often questions are asked from this chapter in your exam, so pay attention to these recordings. The topic we are starting off with is section 10.1, which is communication using email. According to your syllabus, the objectives we have to cover in this lesson is to describe what are the constraints that affect the use of email, what is spam, why it needs to be prevented, how are the ways we can prevent spam, and what email groups are and why we use them. The success criteria for this lesson is that you must at least be able to define the term spam, explain why it needs to be prevented, and describe the constraints that affect its use. As a starter, let's think, do we have to follow any rules at all when we send out an email? For sure, we cannot write vulgar language or inappropriate language or use inappropriate content in our emails. And how do we know that an email we receive is not fake? Because sometimes we do receive fake email and a fake SMS. What are the things to look out for? These are some of the questions we are going to answer in this slide. To start off, let's think, what are the constraints that affect the use of email? Some of the constraints that affect the use of email include the laws that we have within a country. Many countries will have laws to protect people against the misuse of emails. So for example, you must not use false or misleading subject lines. There must be a valid postal address which comes with all the emails from an organization. Harvesting emails is not allowed. Senders must obtain opt-in permission before emails are sent out to them. There must be a very clear way for recipients to not receive or unsubscribe or opt out from messages. And the privacy policy used must be made clear to your subscribers. These are all some examples of laws that can exist in a country to protect people against the misuse of emails. What are the constraints? The fact that you should use acceptable language, right? You should not use obscene images or abusive language in the email, or write racist or violent messages, or use illegal materials in the messages. What is email copyright? Copyright means your email and attachments are subject to copyright, and most companies have clear set policies about this. You must have come across the term netiquette at some point of time. Netiquette stands for internet etiquette. It is that you respect each other's privacy, views, and display common courtesy when you post your views online. So you do not write things which is intended to be humorous but that can offend somebody if they misunderstand your language. So following that kind of etiquette, that kind of respect on the internet is called netiquette. Also, you must keep your password protected and secure by using strong passwords, changing them regularly, using spam filters to filter spam emails, and run antivirus and anti-spam software. Here you can see a poster on what some common rules are for netiquette. Netiquette is to remember that even somebody on the other side of the internet is human, and you should know where you are in the digital space and follow all permissions and practices. And online life is similar to real life. Some other aspects of netiquette include that you should make yourself look good online and share expert knowledge, check what your opinions are before you share them, and respect the privacy of other people on the internet. Also, if somebody makes mistakes, you should forgive them. The next topic we are discussing as part of this chapter in 10.1 is spam. Spam is an often asked exam question. Spam is generally junk email. It is junk email that is sent out to recipients from a mailing list, and this email could or could not be part of a phishing scam. If you remember from before, a phishing scam is a scam where somebody tries to obtain your permission using illegal ways online. They are basically unwanted emails, and we filter spam out using anti-spam filters. For example, if you look at this picture over here, we know this is a spam email because a fake domain name is used, and also some spelling mistakes are there in this email, and usually spam emails send a threat to you, expecting you to share some information with them. Spelling and grammatical errors are some other ways that you can figure out the email you have received is a spam. Also, you will notice that fake email signature can be used, and the link might not really lead you to anywhere else. This is another example of a spam email. Here you can see that the spam email says it comes from Mark Zuckerberg, and it starts off with a catchy heading so that you open it and view it. But it contains some unrealistic fake offers and also contains a broken URL, and this is another way you can understand that this spam is actually not a real email but a junk one. Another example is given here where an unknown email address is used, and it asks you to give your personal information, which is the phishing part of the spam email. What is the effect of spam? Spam is junk email, so it could have viruses attached to it, and if it is part of a phishing scam, there is a chance that your email and other details can be obtained. The network can also become much slower or unresponsive if there is a lot of unnecessary traffic flooding it. How do we prevent spam? Most email providers have a junk email filter that will stop the spam email from coming inside. Also, unless you really need it, do not sign up for any commercial email lists and do not reply to spam email. If you are asked whether you want to share your email with a third party, untick the checkbox unless you really have to. Now let's have a short task. We are going to try to identify why the following emails might have been marked spam by Google. We are also trying to look at what Gmail does to the images in the spam email. You can see here that this particular email I received was identified as spam by Gmail because it tries to say that it is from a finance company, but the URL has nothing to do with a finance company. And they are trying to say that they are going to help you by giving you loans and such, and you can also see that it had an unsafe attachment with it. So Gmail found out that this is spam, put it in the spam folder and showed you a message saying this message seems to be dangerous, it tries to steal people's information, so don't use it. So because this did not come to your inbox, you were safe from this spam email. This is another spam email I received a while ago, where Gmail recognized this as spam because, as you can see, all of the email is written in capital letters and it tries to capture your attention. This was another way you can find it. It says this is the last notice, do not overlook this email. So some threat is used and it tries to give you a fake offer of $4.8 million, which seems too good to be true. Also, it is asking you for personal information by asking you to send what is the information you want delivered, and this is another way that you can find out that this is a spam email. The last topic we are going to discuss today is regarding email groups. Email groups are basically when you have your contacts grouped together in a single email address so that you can have emails sent to multiple recipients at once. When you want to, for example, send an email to a large group, each time you don't have to type the email address of every single person in that group. Instead, you set up a contact group, for example, the way shown in this picture here, and put all the members in a group and call it a name, and that email group can be used to email all the members in the group at once. For example, companies will do this when they want to send emails to specific target groups, like for example sending meeting invites to many people who should come to the meeting and so on. What spammers try to do is that they try to buy these email groups and email addresses from companies and use it to spam you. The second task for today is that we are going to try to solve a past paper question that has come from this topic we covered today. The question was that spam emails are a problem for computer systems. Explain what is meant by spam, explain why spam emails need to be prevented, and describe some of the methods which can be used to prevent spam. So, from our discussion so far, we know that spam is a junk email. It can consist of unwanted ands, and it is an email that you do not want. Why spam needs to be prevented? Because spam can contain phishing, it can try to steal your information, it can contain viruses in attachments, it can fill your inbox and take up unnecessary traffic on your network, and so on. What are the methods which can be used to prevent spam? We can prevent spam by not opting in for mailing lists or marketing emails. Never reply to a spam. Use a spam filter in your inbox all the time. Never reveal your main email address to strangers, and always try to delete the accounts that you don't normally use. As a plenary for this lesson, let's try to recap some of the constraints that affect the use of email. Some of the constraints that affect the use of email include that email must follow the laws in a country, it must be written in acceptable language, not use vulgar, obscene language or pictures, it must follow the copyright policies of the company, and the email must also follow netiquette, which is internet etiquette. That's all for today, girls. Hope this was an easy to comprehend topic for you. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum.